Did you know that there are countless misconceptions about Muslims and Islam, but how many of them are based on reality? Today we are going to dispel 10 misconceptions that may surprise you. The purpose of making the video is to correct misconceptions and provide correct information about Islam. Many people take Islam in a wrong way, so in this video, I am going to dispel the misconceptions. The first misconception is that Islam is the religion of terrorists. This is a very big misconception. Islam is associated with terrorism. The fact is that terrorism has no place in Islam. Islam is a religion of peace, and it emphasizes the protection of humanity and the respect for life. Terrorism is a political issue, not a religious one. Muslim leaders and scholars from all over the world condemn terrorism and emphasize the teachings of peace and love in Islam. The second biggest misconception is that Muslims hate non-Muslims. It is said that Muslims hate non-Muslims, but this is wrong. Islam teaches kindness to all human beings. Whether it is a Muslim or a non-Muslim, the Quran states that it is important to respect humanity, and the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, always emphasized the importance of good morals. The Quran and Hadith have instructed to treat non-Muslims well, and Muslims around the world live in peace with different religions. The third biggest misconception is that Islam does not give freedom to women. A common idea is that Islam does not give freedom to women. But the fact is that Islam gives women rights that are respected, such as the right to education, the right to do business, and property rights. There is a concept of distance for women in Islam, and the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, ruled to protect women's rights. And the Hadith clearly emphasizes the importance of education, property, and other rights for women. The fourth biggest misconception is that the message of Islam is limited to Arab countries only. Many people think that the message of Islam is limited to Arab countries only, but the fact is that Islam is a world religion, and its followers are spread in every corner of the world. The teachings of Islam are for the whole world, such as Indonesia, Pakistan, India, and there is a large number of Muslims in Turkey. Their basic teachings are for all humanity. Another misconception is that Muslims cannot marry non-Muslims, but this actually depends on religious principles. Muslim men can marry Christian or Jewish women, but Muslim women are required to have their husbands be Muslims. The Quran states that Muslim men can marry Christians and Jews from the people of the book, but this condition has been imposed on Muslim women in order to protect the religious and cultural authority of the family. The next misconception is that Eid in Islam is limited to prayer only. People think that Eid is limited to prayer only, but Eid is a family and community festival in which Muslims celebrate with each other, give gifts, and give charity to the poor. This day is a day of gratitude, unity, and love. On Eid, Muslims share happiness with their friends, relatives, and neighbors, and give charity to help the needy. Well, you talk about the next misconception. The next misconception says that what is in the Sharia means there are severe punishments. Finally, there is another misconception about Sharia that it only means severe punishments. In reality, Sharia is a moral guidance and one that instructs Muslims to follow justice, charity, and ethical principles in their personal lives. So, we think that these are severe punishments of Sharia. Okay, let's talk about the next misconception. The next misconception is that Islam is limited to prayer and fasting. Many people think that Islam is limited to prayer and fasting. But I want to tell them that in reality, Islam is a complete code of life that includes justice, charity, forgiveness, humanity, and in the Quran and Hadith, Muslims are invited to help others, give charity, and have good morals. Next, let's talk about the misconception. It is said that Islam has the principle of compulsion. It is believed that Islam has the principle of coercion and coercion. But the fact is that accepting faith in Islam is a voluntary act. The Quran says that there is no compulsion in religion. Muslims cannot force anyone to believe. The basic message of Islam is freedom and self-determination, and Muslims are given the freedom to choose their own faith. Now next, let's talk about the misconception. Muslims fast all the time. It is a misconception that a common idea is that Muslims fast all the time. But the fact is that fasting is observed only in Ramadan. During the month of Ramadan, Muslims stop eating and drinking from dawn to dusk, but fasting in the rest of the months is optional. Ramadan is a worship that increases spirituality.